So, are our businesses in the UK being strangled by unnecessary regulation and red tape? This is the charge of many against the EU. However, we need to consider the costs and the benefits. And really, the EU is one huge cost-benefit analysis for the UK as to whether we benefit from being in or being out. Let's just look at regulation. People like Boris Johnson would say 95% of UK businesses don't export to the EU, but they're subject to EU regulation, and that imposes unnecessary costs on business, and that therefore reduces profitability and reduces our potential for investment and economic growth. Is this true? Well, what you need to consider is, yes, Open Europe argues that the costs are about £27 billion a year for the UK economy of having regulations in areas such as the labour market, for employment rights and environmental regulation, as well as product market regulation to ensure products are safe. So just a little example, across the EU you have one sign for fire escape, and you can only use those signs across the EU. So it means if you want to get out because there's a fire, you look for the same sign in Italy, France, Britain, Poland. Is that a good thing? Well, I'll leave you to decide that. And let's get back to the economy. What you need to look at is the costs and the benefits. So if we look at the benefits for the UK economy of regulation, they come to about £57 billion. And people normally concentrate just on the costs. So therefore, the net benefit to the UK economy is approximately £30 billion. Okay, now many people pro-Europe would agree that that could be an overestimate in some ways. But let's just look at a little detail. If we got rid of paid maternity leave, paid paternity leave, and we didn't need people to have 4 weeks holiday a year, or 1 day off a week, we didn't have a working time maximum, then yes, we could cut business costs quite significantly. But is that a price we want to pay? On the environment, EU legislation through directives insist on improving air quality, river pollution, provide clean beaches, and obviously there's a recycling target of half household waste by 2020. Now, if we look at beach pollution and having clean beaches, really the odd thing about pollution is it does go across national boundaries, you know. So water pollutants and air pollution goes from country to country. So perhaps that's why we do need an EU regulation for this area. Now, if you're a pro-market zealot and you want to get rid of a lot of labour market legislation, and you want to get rid of environmental legislation, and so we have a more laissez-faire approach, then yes, you could reduce these costs. There's no doubt about that. However, most people would argue that we need some form of employment rights, and we need some form of environmental protection. If we just look at air pollution, to ensure air pollution is a cost on business, but is also a benefit because it means we're breathing cleaner air, and currently 10,000 people disgracefully a year die prematurely in the London area as a result of air pollution. And so if you improve river pollution, air pollution, water pollution, then that leads to significant benefits. So let's just look at some examples. We've got the Energy Performance of Building Directive. Undoubtedly that is unfortunate. It costs 1.5 billion net. And so there are some regulations that we could fight to change to improve. Another example might be the Temporary Agency Workers Directive, bit of a mouthful. This ensures that people employed through agencies have the same pay and conditions as the people who are employed directly. And this costs UK firms 2.1 billion, and the benefits are probably 1.5 billion. Now, Do you want to get rid of that sort of regulation? It depends what you think about the regulation of the labour market, and it depends what you think politically about workers' rights. So overall, there's a net benefit to the UK of these regulations of up to 30 billion a year. If we didn't have EU regulation in product markets, labour market and environment, we'd have to have our own, and we'd have to replace the EU regulation with our own. So the advantages aren't as significant as some might argue. Thank you.